G'day, this is Joe Cross from the movie Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead and from rebootwithjoe.com. I'm on Extreme Health Radio with Justin and Kate, and we are juicing up the world.
Welcome to Extreme Health Radio. Extreme Health Radio.
Where natural solutions to almost every health condition are out there. Join us on our journey to find them.
Now here are your hosts,
Broadcasting from sunny Southern California around the world.
Justin and Kate Stellman.
Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining us on another episode of Extreme Health Radio. This is a lot of fun for us to be here, and I'm here with my wife, Kate.
I love being here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
And we're having a good day here. I hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are in the world today. You could be listening to this 5 years from now. We don't know, do we?
No, that's a pretty weird thought, isn't it?
Yeah, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah,
even.
I hope so, and it'll still be life-changing information for a lot of people.
Serving people out there. So I want to thank you for joining us on this episode. And again, my name is Justin. This is my wife, Kate, and we're in Southern California, broadcasting worldwide to over 120 countries, last time I checked, which is pretty amazing. And we do shows, if you're interested, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So 4 days a week we do shows, and it's a lot of fun. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook and join our community for show updates and all kinds of inspirational content on a daily basis, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. And that's always a fun way to interact with everybody in the community. And for reference, today's Wednesday, right?
Right.
Wednesday, June
19th.
19th, 2013. Yeah. Amazing.
Where does it go?
We say that every time, and it just keeps going, no matter what we say.
At least we're here for it.
Yep. And this is episode 115, so no need to take notes. You just sit back, and we'll take all the notes for you. You can check out the show page, extremehealthradio.com/115, and we'll have all the websites and reference materials on that page. So if you'd like to join the show, please do so. You can email Justin at extremehealthradio.com or
Kate, Kate, at extremehealthradio.com.
And another great way to join us, too, is just go to extremehealthradio.com/voicemail, all one word, and you can record a question for us or for our guests right from your computer.
That is a nifty tool.
Yeah, pretty great. And let's see, what else do we have to get to? Oh, if you want to support us, you can do so if you buy on Amazon. Anytime you buy there, no matter what you buy, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, and that will be a great way to support our work, and we'd love to have you do that.
That'd be awesome.
And let's see, what else do we have? We have lots of great guests coming up. We have tomorrow, Adam Bergstrom.
Right.
SolarMan111.com.
I love Adam.
He talks about chronobiotic nutrition and all kinds of crazy things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We love Adam. And as well as Evan Folds from VortexBrewer.com.
Oh, that's right.
And he's going to be talking about gardening and teaching us how to remineralize the soil and really grow food that's extremely healthy.
I need a lesson in that because my tomatoes are dying.
Yeah, maybe the farmers should take a listen to that show.
I think so.
He'll teach people how to remineralize their soil. Then we got Sydney Ross Singer from KillerCulture.com, and he'll be talking about the role of bras and breast cancer and things. And,
oh, very cool.
And our clothes, the chemicals in our clothes and stuff. So that should be a good show. Today we have Dr. Bob Dowling. We're really excited to have him on, and he's going to be offering some insight that you probably have never heard in terms of cancer. So if you have someone you know that has cancer or has been recently diagnosed, you're definitely going to want to send this show to them, because Dr. Bob Dowling's been researching cancer heavily, intensively since I think the early 90s for about 20 years, and he's the president of the North Carolina Institute of Technology, and he has a clinic in Ecuador, Mexico.
Ecuador,
the country of Ecuador. Should say that. And so now I think we're going to be taking the flight to North Carolina or South Carolina. Is that where you are, Bob?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, thanks for joining us today.
Very pleased to be with you.
So the federales let you back into the country, huh?
Well, I'm here until tomorrow. I'll leave tomorrow, go back to Ecuador.
Okay.
Wow.
And how long do you normally come? Do you stay for some time in the States?
It depends on what business I need to take care of. This has just been a 1 week venture. I'll be back in late September.
Okay, and so each time you come for research purposes and things?
Depends. I came this time to pick up some medications for a cancer patient in Ecuador. It's a medication that it's not available in Ecuador.
Interesting. And so have you had any issues with the law or the FDA or anybody down in Ecuador?
No, Ecuador doesn't do those things. There's no organized, AMA or ADA. You still have the traditional cancer oncologist who think, the only thing you can do is cut, burn, and whatever.
Poison,
And poison, yeah. So, but, we have, because medicine is not so well organized there, or the doctors a little more dedicated to what they're doing. We got plenty of doctors in our clinic now that do everything we need to do, and we don't catch any grief from anybody, as far as government. The government is glad to have us there because of what we've discovered.
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard of a guy, what's his name? I think his name was Greg Catton. And
Greg's a very good friend of mine.
Oh.
What's the story with him lately? Because he runs a website, and I think they came and took him away, didn't they?
Yeah, but he's back. He got, the whole thing was a sham. I've got a complete story in my new book, which just came out. Actually, it's a free download for anybody listening right now. So all I do is go to my website, and it's a downloadable copy. And he's one of the chapters that explains all the things that were done to him and how he was kidnapped. But in fact, he was kidnapped when I first went to Ecuador. I went to see him, and I wasn't even there a month is when they did that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, didn't the FDA or someone came and took him away, didn't they?
Oh, yes. Yep. The FDA sent down their goons and CIA, and first attempt that they didn't make it on the first attempt, so they got the American Embassy involved. And the whole thing was completely illegal, but it's all explained in the book, but it was completely illegal against the laws of the United States and against the laws of Ecuador. But,
oh my gosh.
it seems to me that no one cares what the laws are anymore, if you got enough money and power.
Let's mention his website too, right now.
Yeah, is your book about Greg Catton on the breastcancercured.com? Is that the website?
Yeah, you can go to breastcancercure.com or ncresearch.org or cancercured.org and follow the links to the North Carolina Institute of Technology.
Perfect.
It's on the front page of the North Carolina Institute of Technology. Just put it up for a free download for anybody listening right now, or even if they listen a year from now, if they'll just send an email, I'll give them a free download.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, great.
Wow, good information.
So you're friends with him, and so are you worried that the same things that they did to them or did to him could possibly be done to you down there? Or
well, of course it could be done to me, but it's not as likely now because the American ambassador was involved in it. She got deported because of it. The story was a lie about why she got deported. But anyway, that was the reason, because she was involved. And even the FBI was on foreign territory, which they're not supposed to be. They were seen and even got voted for it. So, the U.S. government probably spent, $150,000, $200,000 getting this guy back, put him in jail again, which is just absolutely ridiculous. He's got a cream that he developed for skin cancers, and I actually use it for taking off other cancers that's breaking through the skin. In fact, I have a guy right now, he's about 49 or 50 years old, had a big tumor on his right foot, on the top of his foot. Huge tumor. And, of course, the local oncologist said, well, first of all, we've got to do chemo, shrink it, radiation, shrink it, then we're going to cut your foot off.
Oh.
Now, my question to him was, now, wait a minute, if they're going to cut your foot off, why are they going through all the trouble?
Right.
He couldn't explain it. But anyway, so he didn't want his foot missing, so I basically took it off before I left. And but it had already metastasized to his bones and got a little small tumor in his lung. But the point is, there is a medicine out, it's called naltrexone, 4.5 milligram now. It's low dose naltrexone, and I've never seen it not work for bone cancer. It just stops bone cancer. It's not approved for cancer treatments. But
yeah, we heard about that from Bert Bergstrom, or Bert Bergson, I should say, the low dose naltrexone, and that was originally set up for like addiction, like drug addictions or something. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, the doctor discovered, graduated first in his class at Harvard Medical School, and he called me way back when I set up cancercured.org, which is, of course, the FDA's favorite website. But when I first put it up, he called me, man, you got the nerve to do that. He said, but I got something to pass on to you. And so this has been, it's been over 10 years ago. And he called me directly, and he said, well, when I graduated, I went into general practice, but I was interested in helping people get off drugs, not only illegal drugs, but legal drugs like, morphine and that type of thing when it's given, with cancer. And he says, I know you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to tell you that after about 20 years of doing this, I discovered that 100% of all the cancers I had that involved bone cancer, this drug arrested it. The cancer just stopped growing. And then he says 50% of all other cases I've had, and I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases over 20 years because that's what I did for a living, he says 50% of all other cancers just went into remission. I said, well, okay, I didn't really believe them like that, but ever since then, we've been, and this stuff is all over the world now. I've been in cancer clinics all over the world, and here they're using 4.5 milligram naltrexone very successfully. It's not the only thing. You have to use it with other things too, but every bone cancer case I have had, and there's been many of them, they're all still alive now, and the bone cancer just, it just stops. It doesn't, the tumors don't go away, but there's no more growth.
That's amazing.
It's just incredible. And, of course, an oncologist can't prescribe it because it's not approved for cancer treatments.
But you could get low-dose naltrexone in the United States, can't you, from compounding?
It's by prescription. If that drug was in Ecuador, it wouldn't even be a prescription drug. It's so harmless. But anyway, that's the way it is here.
Oh, wow.
So now,
and it's good for other things. It's great for Alzheimer's, great for Parkinson's and Lou Gehrig's and MS. Very good for MS. It's just a miracle drug that was, it has to be at low dose for it to work. It can't work at the standard dosages for drug treatment. But it's just a miraculous drug. And never thought I'd ever say that about any drug, but that's one of them.
Yeah, no kidding.
About the only one, I know.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And that was probably a fluke. Nobody, it's too late now, but, all these pharmacies know the formula for it, so you can't stop it now.
Wow, so you use that down in your clinic as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, actually what we do is when somebody's ready to come, we get a prescription written for them, and they bring it with them. Because we can't get it in Ecuador. We're trying to get it approved there now. So
Wow,
it's pretty simple formula from what I understand.
So now you have some pretty interesting theories about cancer, or probably not even theories, but you're saying that a high percentage, potentially all cancers, are related to your oral pathology. Is that right?
I'd say 98% are, yeah.
wow.
98. Now, is that a causative or just a relationship that's there?
No, there's a relationship there, and we have all the studies. Actually, FDA reviewed the $3 million study that was done here, and they just thought it was great. But that's as far as it got, trying to get it published. I mean, we're talking about a major university in the U.S. doing the study, along with a good friend of mine who had, I think, about 3 doctorate degrees. And it wasn't like they weren't qualified, and they didn't come from a qualified university. But no journal will touch it, even though they. And then after the FDA reviewed it and thought it was so great, everybody on the FDA except the dentist loved it. The dentist didn't like it, of course, because they're shaking the money tree for them. But,
Right.
But all of this is explained again in my book. That's why I'm giving it away. It's just low. In fact, the original name of the book is In the Shadow of the Wall, which is a look at lunatic asylums then and cancer treatments now. Because I grew up at a state hospital. My father worked for the state hospital, and I grew up when these asylums were really pits of hell. And so I'm comparing about all the atrocities that went on there with the modern-day cancer treatments. But that was a former title. I renamed it for it called A Cancer Epidemic. Will You Survive? And we are in an epidemic.
Oh gosh, yeah. And do you still have that big van, that big truck you had?
Yeah, sitting out there, out there. We took all the writing off of it because we kept getting harassed about. I mean, even the North Carolina Medical Board was seen up here taking pictures of it. They were getting ready to can me for good. So I just don't want any more trouble out of anybody. So I just took all the writing off of it. But it had 1 foot high writings all the way down the side, cancercure.org, and no radiation, no chemo, no surgery. It was,
wow.
We drove that thing all through Canada and got kicked out of a RV park in Canada because it was owned by an oncologist. Boy, he saw that thing and ran us out real fast.
You don't want any of that coming there.
Oh, man. I mean, all the RV parks up there in that particular province are owned by medical doctors, most of them oncologists.
Wow.
So we had to go to a Walmart and park in the parking lot of Walmart to do our scans and everything.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So did you ever get pulled over when you're driving that thing, and for the cop to kind of just make up something to pull you over about? Because
no. We never got pulled over. We had a lot of interesting conversations when we got fuel, but no one's ever harassed us in that way, other than not really harassed. We went all across Canada and down into west coast of U.S. and back across.
Wow.
And we went fast enough where nobody could catch us anyway.
Got a super duper motor in the RV, huh?
Yeah, that thing, boy. I mean, we were pushing 80 and 90 coming across that desert.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. So you just kind of took the writing off because you didn't want to be harassed anymore.
Yeah, but there's still pictures. I'm have to put the picture back on the website just out of curiosity. It was a pretty neat picture with the mountains in the background and just sitting there. That thing's huge. It's 40 feet long and side goes out. In fact, the government of Ecuador is interested in buying it from me as a mobile clinic and shipping it to Ecuador. So if they want to do that, I'll be glad to do it.
That's amazing. The relationship between Ecuador and the United States must not be a good one.
It's not. The president of Ecuador hates the government of the U.S., and he said it publicly. He says he loves American people, and the Ecuadorian people love American people. I mean, it's just something. But he says, well, what happened was he kicked the Air Force base out of Ecuador because the U.S. wouldn't give him an Air Force base in the U.S., so he said, well, it's fair play. If you want one here, I got to have mine up there, too. So, of course, that went over like a, with the U.S. government. So that's when they tried to depose them a couple of years ago. They tried to get rid of them. Didn't work.
Wow. So they actually tried. The CIA probably came down and...
CIA is constantly there. I can't even go to any of the American spots because they're just there. They're like flies. It's terrible. So... But, he's put out the word, we're a sovereign nation, we're a republic. Our republic is run by the common people, not by the, aristocratic Democrats. That's explained in the book, too, the difference between a democracy and a republic.
Right.
Yeah, a republic can have a democratic, government, which we do in Ecuador, but there's a big difference.
Wow.
Yeah, big difference. And, yeah, for people to know that, I think is a big deal.
How long?
Well, we used to be a republic, but that's long gone. We don't even follow the Constitution anymore.
Right.
That's for sure. How long have you been practicing or living part-time in Ecuador now?
Been there 4 years.
4 years, so not that long.
And you've been practicing for 20 years, is that right?
Yeah, I'm basically a research scientist, so I'm not really a practicing physician. We use our licensed physicians in Ecuador to do all the work. I just sit there and show them what needs to be done and assist in surgery sometimes. But I'm not really a practicing physician, so just share my knowledge with those who are interested. And we got a lot, what started was I just made some great contacts when I ran for the hills down there, and that literally that's another story in the book too, but really had to get out fast because it get ready to put me in jail like Greg. Greg warned me. There are some good people here in the U.S., even in the FDA, and they rat on what's going on sometimes, and so I got some good information, got out fast before they put a no-fly on me.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
So, but now they don't bother me anymore because I don't do anything here and don't want to do anything here and can't do anything here because, some of our procedures do require some surgery and things that we couldn't do here if we wanted to. So
that is so interesting. We got to take a short break. I want to start laying some of the groundwork after the break, if you would be so kind. Just the whole oral pathology and the connection between cancer and cavitations and root canals and things. Because I think this is an area where people just don't really know that much about, and it's a little bit shocking for people to hear that connection. So I want to talk a little bit about that and get more into your work and talk about that. And so people can check out your website, breastcancercured.com or ncresearch.org. And they can check out your book as well as everything else. So when we get back from the break, we'll dive deeper in with Dr. Robert Dowling, and we'll be right back. So it's been so much fun for my wife and I to put together this website with all of the articles and the transcriptions and the store and the shows for you. It's been really, really great. And if you would like to support us, we've got a really great store on our website, and we do it mostly through affiliations with products that we really, really believe in. And we search out and do a lot of research before we put any of these products on the store. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/store, there's a little welcome video from me there, and you can learn more about what we're about and how we've chosen the products to be in our store. But we've got all kinds of great things, like a ton of DVDs that you can check out in all different tabs, as well as products for certain conditions like yeast infection and cancer and your own blood tests. And we've got physical products and digital products and diet products where you can learn about the paleo diet and different summits, the Real Food Summit and the Perfect Digestion Plan. And we've got all kinds of different things for fitness as well. We sell yoga trapezes and yoga courses and qigong courses, really, really high quality stuff, and pregnancy products and food prep products if you're interested in learning how to cook real food, as well as a really great raw food prep program. And we've also sell lots of different herbs and supplements through Mountain Rose Herbs and Surthrival and protein powders and blenders and dehydrators and all kinds of really, really great products. And I like the fermentation products too, where we've got courses on how to ferment anything, and you can buy fermentation products, physical products like fermentation crocks, and we've got a whole line of survival products and, like I said, blenders and juicers and rebounders and water purification systems and chemical-free glass cookware and all kinds of really great stuff. So if you're interested in supporting us, check out our store. We've got lots of high-quality products that are handpicked by me to be in here. And like I said, we do lots of research before we put any of these products in our store. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/store. So thanks for listening, and let's get back to the show.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right, we're having a good time here talking with Dr. Robert Dowling from breastcancercured.com and ncresearch.org, and having a good time. And he's into the whole dental connection with health and with your cancer and disease and everything else. And he's got a really interesting thing that he does called radial ablation that we're going to talk about, as well as this full body thermal imaging, and he's got a cavitat machine. And
Wow.
So during this time, I want to just kind of lay the groundwork a little bit, Doctor. How do your teeth relate to cancer, and why do they cause cancer?
Well, believe it or not, it's been known for a couple thousand years. Who's listening to the Chinese these days? But they discovered this connection. it was kind of funny because I was in China. I was invited to China to a major, about 800-bed hospital, private hospital in China. And so I was there for 10 days teaching my technology. I was very interested, and it, they have tied so much into Western medicine. They don't even know their own background and own medicine. It's a shame. But anyway, the Chinese have their charts out, many charts out that connect your teeth to different organs in the body. So it's a rather unique system. So why does a dead body part, which is what a root canal is, it's a dead tooth, dead body part. Mm-hmm. No self-respecting surgeon would ever leave anything dead in your body unless it was, a scalpel or something from a surgery or a sponge. But nobody would do it, but a dentist will, and they know better. The history of root canals is very sordid, and it's by the time they kill that tooth, we got a dead bone sitting there loaded with pores that bacteria love to go hide in, but because there's no blood supply to that tooth anymore, because it was removed to kill the tooth, then the blood is your protection system. No blood can flow through the tooth, so these bacteria have no oxygen, so they turn into an anaerobic bacteria. Now, anaerobic bacteria are the worst kind of bacteria you could ever have. Mm-hmm. Basically, bacteria are good and they're bad. We got to have bacteria, otherwise we'd be in big trouble. Mm-hmm. But we don't want those bad boys, especially in our body. So what happens? The study is the $3 million study that was done here several years ago has proven this fact. It's proven that these anaerobic bacteria literally inhibit the genetic system that protects you from making tumors. I used to have all that on my website, and I had something crash, and I've lost it. I'll see if I can revive it. But it's very, very interesting, and it's very, very technical. And we tried to have it where most people could read it and understand it. But basically, it's the P53 and its associates, which are inhibited. It doesn't destroy them or shut them down completely. It inhibits them from doing their job. And their job in all mammals, not just humans, but in all mammals, is to prevent the body from making tumors. Basically, a very simplified version of what it is. So what happens is, once you get a root canal, we have seen anywhere from 3 to 10 years later, these things start flowing out into the body. Now, let's say you have a root canal on the right side of your body, in a molar or whatever. The cancers always develop on the right side. Very seldom do they cross the line, the midline. So if you have a root canal on the right, you can count on, we deal mostly with breast cancer because it's a very curable disease now. Huh. In fact, we basically guarantee if it ever comes back, we'll treat you free. So, if you have a root canal on the right side, you're going to get your breast cancer on your right breast, or in the right breast, or the right lung, even if you never smoked, or the liver, okay, or descending, your small intestine. It's all going to be located on that right side, and vice versa. If your root canal's on the left side, then it's going to go down that left side. It's going to wipe out your knee eventually. This is why so many older people with root canals, they wonder, well, I never played football, never any kind of sports. Why is my knee coming apart? And all you do is trace it back to the root canal. And I've seen this over and over and over, just thousands of times.
Wow.
So it's not just cancer. Okay, if the root canal's on the right side, especially upper right, then you're a prime candidate for Parkinson's and Lou Gehrig's. If the root canal is like in a front tooth where you played sports and you banged your tooth up and they had the root canal it, then your cancer is going to go down to your throat, your esophagus, your stomach, your whatever's down below that midline. In women, it's uterine cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer. You can predict where these cancers are going to form by knowing where the root canal or other oral pathology is in the mouth. And there are other oral pathologies other than root canals. I've only seen, out of hundreds of patients that's come to Ecuador, I've only seen 2 exceptions. One was a young lady with 10 children. She was 35 years old with 10 children. She lived out west in a log cabin made out of railroad ties. Of course, one of the most dangerous chemical on the face of the earth is the creosote. And she was just eaten up with cancer. The other was a woman that lived up in Oregon, I think, next to an apple orchard where every spring or every time they needed to, they sprayed the trees. And she lived there for 20 years, and every year it would come into our house because it was like a golf course type thing where she lived right next to the trees.
Oh,
that's the only exceptions I've seen. That's why I say 98% or more are oral pathology.
So do you think that oral pathology is not just the cause of cancer, but really the cause of all disease?
All degenerative, and of course cancer is a regenerative disease, but all degenerative disease, the serious, I can't say all, there's no absolutes like all, but, I have traced the majority of these diseases back to the mouth, even heart disease. If your root canal or oral pathology is on the lower left, then it's going to affect your heart.
Is there a correlation with the Chinese meridian system? Is that why?
Absolutely. That's where it all started. Yeah.
Okay, so somehow your teeth correspond. Each tooth corresponds with
one organ,
one or more organs. Is that right?
That's right. I had cancer in my descending colon. Okay, I had root canals done 30 years ago. Not knowing any difference. I've been studying this for 30 years, but back when I was a lot younger, I had 2 root canals put in lower left. Well, about 20 years later, I started getting pains in my chest, angina pains. Started having a pain in my descending colon. So I knew I was in trouble. I didn't want to be scoped. I didn't want anything to run up in my intestinal tract, but, I knew it was a problem because my bowel movements were flat and, they came out like ribbons. And so I knew something was obstructing in there. And I knew I hadn't swallowed a spoon or anything, but I was beginning to get worried about it. And so I was working on a new natural medicine, which is probably the best anywhere in the world, which is basically becoming legal now. And so I always overdose. I try to overdose on anything natural that I want to give anybody to make sure, if it doesn't kill me, I'll know how sick I got or whatever. And so I kind of OD'd on this thing, and I was wiped out all day long. After I found out, after I got the root canals taken out, anyway, I still had the pain. The pain went away immediately from my chest. I had no more pain in my descending colon, but I knew it was still there. I knew a tumor was in there somewhere. And so, anyway, I OD'd on this. I didn't OD, but I took high dose of this stuff and basically was zonked out like a terrible drunk for all day long. My blood pressure dropped down to 60/30, and I just prayed that, it wouldn't go any further, and it didn't. It started coming back up, and the next day I was constipated. Never am constipated. And when it all did come out, there was a tumor. It just came out.
No way.
It had broken loose. So, I know firsthand. I've had cancer firsthand. I know. I saw all the signs, all the tests I did on myself. I knew I had cancer, and I knew approximately where it was. I didn't know if it had entered the wall of the intestine or it was just kind of hanging on or what. It was hanging on pretty good, but it finally just broke loose and came out. So now everything's normal. All my tests are normal and everything. But that's what those 2 root canals did to me. It probably took 10 years for it to develop all that stuff.
So I'm sure everyone wants to know most of us do have a root canal or 2. What's the first step people do to get those out?
If you can find a dentist to take it out, don't go back to the one that put it in there because he won't, that
right.
dentist is not going to remove it, but get it pulled. It's got to be pulled. Got to get it out. It's got to be pulled by a biological dentist that knows what to do once they pull it. Those things are so rotten and dead and rotten. Sometimes you have to have dental surgery. We do all that in Ecuador when people come down there. We have trained everybody to do that kind of thing. And you can either replace it with a bridge, or if nothing to hook on to, you can. In some cases, you can do an implant. I wouldn't recommend it, but anyway, there's many ways to replace that tooth.
So people don't walk around looking like jack-o'-lanterns, right?
Right, yeah.
So
wow, getting it out is the first step.
So
then.
a bridge then would be something that you might look at.
Yeah, but you don't want any bridge with metal in it, and you don't want any bridge with metal that crosses your midline, because that's another problem. It's like short circuiting, putting a wire from the positive negative post of the car battery and watching it explode. And it's the same way. Your body's the same way. You cannot cross that midline with anything metal.
And do you guys do testing with the material that gets put in to make sure you're biologically compatible with all that? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we used to, but we're finding less and less need to, because the materials we use now are very compatible with just about everybody. It's just not, it's just, we just haven't seen a real issue with that anymore.
Yeah, I think
the older materials were problems, because even some of the materials had a little metal mixed with them to, make them stronger. But, we can get some pretty pure materials now.
Yeah, I was looking on your website last night, and you have a couple of videos with a lot of people and their testimonials, and people that have really late-stage cancers that you've worked with, cancers other than breast cancer, a guy with prostate cancer and all kinds of late-stage
our star is lives here in Asheville, and he's become a good friend. And he had the jaw cancer, and it just about killed him. He came to South Carolina before they raided me down there, and he was the fastest cure I ever had. His tumor went in behind his eye, and it's been a long time ago. It's been 10 or 12 years ago or more, and I didn't even know what I was doing back then.
You won't tell anybody, Doc.
I said, wow. Isn't that interesting? It just went away.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
That's amazing. I saw the video with him, and I think he had his cheek was protruded out a little bit. Was that the guy?
Yeah, they destroyed the poor guy. But anyway, he's happy. He's in his 80s now. He's happy. And then I had another one that came in for thermal imaging. He didn't come with his wife came. She was a mess. He was a good friend of Steve's. I guess he was about 68 years old at the time, or 70, and he just came with his wife because she was having some mental health problem. It wasn't cancer. This is while I was still in North Carolina. And I said, well, let's go in there and take a scan, full body scan of you. Oh, no, I don't, he just didn't want to do it. I said, yeah, get in there. We need to practice, I won't charge you anything. And I found a spot, and I said, uh-oh. And so I said, why don't you go to your doctor and see if they'll do an MRI or a CAT scan of your abdomen. I'd like to see if there's anything going on down there. And sure enough, he had a little small tumor in his kidney. And so he called me and says, they want a biopsy. He said, no. If it's not a stone, if it's not calcium stone, it's a tumor, and it's only one way to handle that, is take your kidney out. He said, are you nuts? I'm 70 years old, and you asked me to have my kidney taken out. I said, well, if you want to be 80, you better take it out. And so he trusts me so well that he went, and his doctor says, how'd you know to come in and ask for this? He says, well, some doctor told me to do it, and that's kind of let it go there, because I tell people don't tell anybody who told you to do this, because I don't want them knocking on my door. But anyway, so he says, well, I'll do it. Took his kidney out, and it's been 15 years ago. He's still alive and kicking. He loves it. He's loving life. So
biopsies are dangerous, aren't they? Or they can be, right?
Well, they claim it's not, but there's two places you never biopsy, and you don't need to biopsy many. One's the kidney, one's the uterus. Okay. And most doctors, except in some of these states where it's really bad, and I won't name who they are, but they're pretty close to where I live. They killed my sister because they biopsied a kidney tumor, and she died in 60 days. I mean, you can't do it. Those renal cells just go like wildfire. We don't need the biopsy anymore. We have good, even though some of it's radiation, good CAT scans, PET scans. We know what we're looking at when we take those scans. Those tumors have a special look about them. They're not, you don't need to biopsy them. But here in the U.S., that's protocol, and you got to follow protocol. And so we don't have to do it in Ecuador. We know what we're seeing, and we go in and take it out if we can, if it's small, and then clean the body up and turn the system back on.
I love it. We got to take a short break here really quick, but you have a machine that we're going to talk about, the thermal imaging, where people can get a test from you and find out 10 years before there's a cancer. It's a couple hundred cells clustered there, and you can show that, and just amazing technology you're working with. And so make sure to visit Dr. Bob Dowling's website, breastcancercured.com, and ncresearch.org, and we'll be back with a good doctor after this break. So a few years ago, when I was working for this company, it was a really small company, and I had been wanting a Vitamix blender for years and years and years, but they're so expensive, and I just hadn't saved the money at that time to get one. And so as a Christmas bonus, they knew that I loved the Vitamix, so they got me a Vitamix, the 5000 blender. And that thing is so incredible. It was right at the beginning of my raw food journey, and I was using it about 3 times a day, really. Today, I still use it about twice a day to make blended smoothies and things like that. But the Vitamix blender is really, really great. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, that will redirect you over to there, and then you'll be able to purchase that, and we'll get a commission for your order. And you'll also get free shipping too, so that'll be great for you if you're interested in saving about $25 on the shipping. And with the Vitamix, you can make sauces and dips and bread. You could make ice cream with it. I've done a lot of ice cream. You can just make the most incredible things. And it's my favorite because it's got a tamper on it. And you can put ice and frozen berries and avocado and some honey and things like that, and with no water at all, and you have that tamper, and you can make the most amazing ice creams with it. So the Vitamix is my favorite blender of choice, and if you're in the market to buy one, I would greatly encourage you to do so if you have the money for it. And if you do it through us, through extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, I'll get a little commission for it, and you'll get free shipping. So it works out for you and for us too. So if you're in the market, please do it through us. That'd be really cool. And you're going to love this thing when you get it. You're going to fall in love with it. You'll never go back to a regular blender again. So check that out, extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, and I hope you enjoy it.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
Kate's dancing, and I just got off the rebounder, and we're having a good time.
Got our little wiggles out during the break.
Got our wiggles. But we're having a good time here with Dr. Robert Dowling, Dr. Bob Dowling, and his website, if you're interested, again, is breastcancercured.com as well as ncresearch.org. And he is the president of North Carolina Institute of Technology, just doing some amazing work down in Ecuador because of our friends at the FDA who are not allowing him to do any work here. So that's why he's in Ecuador. And so, Dr. Dowling, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of this thermal imaging and radial ablation that you're working with down there. It's pretty incredible technology, isn't it?
Yeah, thermal imaging has been around a long time. It's been fought tooth and toe now. I mean, the young system here hates it, but I tell you what, mammograms don't work. We got to Ecuador, and we thought we was going to get thermal imaging, and then no problem. And of course, that's when mammograms went digital. And so all this old, crappy, monologue, junky mammogram equipment got sold to South America and all these third world countries, and Ecuador just bought, probably several $1 million worth of mammograms. And when I got down there, I wrote a letter to President Correa, and he actually answered me. Now, what president would ever do that? But anyway.
Oh, my gosh.
Make a long story short, they were afraid to even introduce it because they just spent all that millions of dollars buying these old junky mammogram machines from the U.S. that they dump on these foreign countries. But we're starting to get in from the other way. We've got doctors now recommend it to the patients, so now we're getting very, very busy just doing scans, and we're finding cancer is not as prevalent in Ecuador because enough people hadn't had root canals and other things like this, but it's getting that way. But anyway, this technology, and I can't tell you who reads our scans. I read them in Ecuador because I've done so many. I've done thousands of them, but I can't tell who does it here because they have to put a disclaimer on their website that these thermoscans do not replace mammography, which of course has to say that because,
right.
But in reality, if they need to go out and destroy every mammography unit in the world, as far as I'm concerned, because they find things too late.
Right.
And so thermal imaging is not diagnostic. It's not to diagnose cancer of any kind. What it is to give an early warning something's not right. Okay, because the body in the sympathetic nervous system, which is what thermal imaging is looking at, the sympathetic nervous system warns when something's not going on right in the body, and it's picked up with thermal imaging. And then we've learned, and the more we do it, the better we get at it. We've learned where to look and how to look, and then we go to traditional. Other than mammogram, I would never have anybody do a mammogram, but we go to other things: CAT scan, PET scan, MRI, preferably an MRI because there's no radiation. But
why would you never have someone do a mammogram? Is it too much radiation?
Not only is it, well, they claim it's not much radiation, just like the airports claim there's no radiation in those ridiculous machines there in the airport. But
right.
But, they're claiming the same thing with mammography. The problem is, there's several problems with mammography. Number one, they don't see it until the tumor's too big. Okay. Number two, it squashes the breast, and so if there is a tumor, a weak tumor, it busts it, and so then you spread the cancer everywhere. Mammography has probably caused more cancer than found cancer. It's just not a good technology. It never has been, and I would say in 5 years it won't even be used anymore. If I had my way, it wouldn't be. So we're gonna clean all those old machines out. I'm just waiting on somebody to come and say, look, here's $100 million. Do what you need to do. Get free treatment. Say everybody want to. Buy all that old junky stuff back from Ecuador and throw it in the ocean out there and do something that works. And we almost had somebody do that one time. There are groups in the world that they're humanitarian groups, and we had promise of $100 million one time, but then the economy went sour, and so who knows, everything went south. But one of these days it may happen. It would just thrill me to no end to be able to just say, look, we're not doing that stuff anymore. It's barbaric. It doesn't work. And anyway, but getting back on the thermal imaging, it like I used to have on the website. I don't know if it's still there or not. You can actually see our book. The lady that's on our website next to our van, our cancer cured thing. She's our poster girl. She'd come over with her husband and 2 children, and they're all hunters. Even though they have girls, and they've taught they're deer hunters. So they all had Lyme disease except her, so she just came along for the ride. And this has been several years ago. So I said, well, why don't you go in there? We need to practice this. Man, I won't charge anything. No, I don't need. Yeah, go in there. So we took it, and sure enough, she had the oral pathology. We looked down the breast below the oral pathology. There was a hot spot. So I sent her for an MRI, and sure enough, MRI showed there was, because the MRI can see, it's either that or a CAT scan. I think it was the MRI. It can see that something was going on. I sent her to the hospital we used to use here in the U.S., which did radio ablation, and I've got those pictures. They were so kind, man. They took pictures all during the ablation. He called me and says, we don't need to do a biopsy. We can tell these are cancer cells. I said, no, you do a biopsy this time because you're getting ready to zap them anyway. So you do a biopsy because I want to prove that it was cancer. And so he did, and we got all that proof, we got all the pictures, and she's a very happy camper, 10 years later, in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
So the thermal imaging you do, it's like a full body. It's not just the breast, and you can detect cancer 10 years before it develops. Is that right?
Yeah, many times it's up to 10, because most breast cancer, by the time a mammogram sees, it's already been, it's been forming, anywhere 6 to 8 years. I mean, that tumor's been there a long time for breast cancer. And so when thermal imaging came out here in the States, it was fought for years and years and years. Finally, it became legal. All they were doing was breast. So when I bought it, I had a friend of mine that had his money in the stock market that was getting ready to crash. And we knew he was in trouble. I said, and that camera's $40,000. I said, I don't have $40,000. He says, well, I do in my stocks. I said, well, why don't you just buy this camera for it, and I'll give you 15% interest. You can't earn that in the stock market. He took it out, and we bought the camera, and I said, well, now, let's see, if I just do breast, I can't make much money on breast. Let's just do the whole body, head to toe. So I charged a little bit more and did head to toe, and that's how we discovered what we did, because we always saw, 98% of the time, we saw oral pathology, hot spots in the face, corresponding with the breast, for breast cancer. Whereas before, when they only did breast imaging, they really didn't know what they were seeing. Half the time, a lot of times, it could just be fibrocystic stuff, and they didn't have enough experience. The readers, which are all medical doctors, believe it or not, the readers didn't think there was a lot of guesswork. Now there's no guesswork. So we pretty well know if we see new blood vessel growth in those breasts, we know it's a tumor. You don't need the biopsy or anything. We know it's there. So.
Wow. So how does the radio ablation? Is that the treatment that you use primarily? If you find
I don't use that as much anymore. But there are radio ablation equipment out. It's been out for a long time. It's still not an accepted practice here, even though it works great. It's just radio frequencies that put a probe in the tumor, and they just turn the RF on. It's like being around a radio station. You got to stay away from that antenna, or you get burned, but you don't know you're being burned. And so you heat the tumor up, and it kills it. But there's also cryoablation. You put a probe in there, fill it full of, and freeze it. So you can freeze it, you can heat it. But the simplest thing, if it's a small tumor, you just go in there, basically we take out all size tumors. This thing about shrinking it with chemo is ridiculous. I mean, we know how to take the big ones out. Just go in there and surgically remove them now, makes it fast, it's easier, and does, the patient recovers very quickly. This was done, we were doing radio ablation up in a hospital in the north, and he was so successful that he finally, the hospital made him quit. Because I'm sure he was threatened. The hospital was threatened with, you want to pass your next joint commission, you better stop this mess. They never said why, but they stopped doing it. And it was very successful, and they even did lung tumors. They were going through nobody had ever done lung tumor until I came along and asked them to do it. And he says, you got to be crazy. This woman has one lung, and you want me to puncture her lung and kill that tumor? Well, she's already said I'm going to die anyway, and I want to do it for humanity. And she did. She survived it, killed the tumor, and another incredible story.
Oh, man, that's just it.
But anyway, that pretty well sealed put the icing on the cake as far as condemning a lot of this stuff here, because it works. It works most of the time, and nobody's hurt by it. But the biggest lie out there is the need to do chemotherapy to shrink a tumor before they can take it out. I mean,
what's the point of shrinking it if they can take it out already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, tumors they can be difficult, because if you go in, you have to be careful the person bleed to death, because around the tumor it's hard to get the blood, the blood to stop bleeding, and but we have techniques to do that now, and Greg Caton's stuff is one of them. It's one that helps seal things off. And traditional surgery doesn't like to leave a wound open, but I mean, we've actually left in some cases where things were, well, there's a picture on the website of the most extreme case we had. I guess you saw it, self-treatment case, and she's on there with that huge tumor, and so we had to take it off. You know, and believe it or not, the body's incredible. We soaked that hole basically in the breast, no breast left, soaked it in sea salt water for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it completely healed over. There was no skin left to sew up, so the body is incredible. You know, all it needs is a few stem cells there, and it starts producing new skin. And covers. I've had several like that, so it's nonsense to think you even have to sew the thing up. You know, most of the time you just got to keep it, keep the infections out, which are, very easy to do these days.
That's just so great. So if people have issues with their teeth, if they have some cavitations, we didn't even really get into that, but if they have root canals or cavities and things.
The cavity won't cause cancer. You can go, I've been in 60 different countries or more in my lifetime, and you can go into deep, dark Africa and places where they don't have any dentists, and, they got people with rotten teeth, but you won't find any cancer. So it's got to be an anaerobic space, which a cavity in a tooth is an open space, and every time they open the mouth, it's got enough oxygen to kill there won't be any anaerobic bacteria form in there unless the root of that tooth gets abscessed. And then you got a different story. But I have an interesting case. I had a guy working for me from southern Mexico several years, and so when he made all the money he wanted to go home, so he went and built him a new house in southern Mexico. So he's from the Chinotec Indians. They still speak the Chinotec dialect. They don't even speak Spanish, most of them. And so he finally said, well, why don't you and your wife come down, and we need some help down here. Got some health problems. So we took the camera and all of our tests and equipment, got on a plane, flew down there, and it was a job getting there. It's a long story. I think it's in the book, too. Anyway, we got down there, and there was 15,000 of these Indians in 3 little pueblos, and they're actually separated from Mexico. They're actually their own little country like our Indians used to have, And so our Indians here used to be separate from the U.S. government, but there's only one tribe that didn't sign the treaty, and it's the only one that legally doesn't need to do what the U.S. tells them to do. But anyway, we got down there, and so the president of the tribe says, Sonson, we never had any problems down here. And it's way up in the middle of nowhere, beautiful, pristine coffee country where they grow coffee and streams, pure streams, and no industry, no nothing. He said, but we're starting to have some problems. And I said, well, is it cancer? Oh, no. We've never had cancer. Well, we do have one. And so I said, well, I want to talk to him. So I talked to the guy, and there was a missionary dentist that come through several years before that and gave him a root canal. Okay, so this is one person in 15,000 Indians has cancer.
Wow.
Here it's 50% in the U.S. now, 50% or more, 60% now. And by 2020, 80% of Americans will get cancer in their lifetime, and that's very obvious it's happening. But anyway, so I said, well, what's the issue here? Well, we didn't have any trouble until something happened here about 10 years ago. I said, well, what happened? He says, look out on the street. I looked out on the street. There's all these canned drinks, Coca-Cola. So until Coca-Cola came in here, we had no problems, no health problems. We didn't even have a clinic. The only time we had problems when somebody hit their hand or finger with a machete or something, cutting and brush. So we had a clinic for that, and birthing, for pregnancies and birthing. We never had any sickness here, but now diabetes are rampant. And I said, well, he says, look out there. And there was all these drinks wrapped in plastic sitting out in the hot sun, and which, by the way, the Gulf War syndrome that's what it was. It was diet drinks sitting out on the Saudi Arabian desert. And as soon as they hit 80 degrees, all that fake sugar and crap they put in there, turns to formaldehyde. So these soldiers literally pickled their insides, and that was the Gulf War syndrome.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
And it did, a lot of permanent damage. So, you don't want to be drinking any diet drinks. Even Coca-Cola is made with a different formula in South America because of the fructose stuff they put in here is killing everybody.
And I'm sure that when people get a Coca-Cola in the store, it might be not very hot, but I'm sure at some point during transportation it got.
Oh yeah, if you live in the South, in the U.S. in the South, those diet drinks were constantly 80 and 90 degrees out there in those hot trucks. So you don't want to be drinking any Diet Colas in the South, U.S. South anyway. And if they've been transported from the South up north, it's just best not to drink any of that junk because it's bad news. And so here's a perfectly healthy tribe of Indians that never was sick, that never mixed with the outside until they started bringing in these cola drinks and sitting them out there in the hot sun.
Wow.
So, the more I travel, the more I see these things, the more I'm convinced that cancer is basically cancer. And a lot of these other things, cancer is a kind of a man-made disease. It's basically no cancer in the late 1800s, hardly any diabetes, and you can't say no one knew what cancer was back then because a tumor's a tumor,
Right.
So, and they did autopsies back then, when people died too. So you can't say that, no, we just didn't know enough about cancer. Probably a lot of people had it, but it's not true.
So there are
we have created this nightmare.
And that's, a lot of people are getting their wisdom teeth taken out, and those are causing cavitations in people, right?
Yeah, in fact, Ecuador is standard practice. As soon as the wisdom teeth come in, they pull them, but they have to learn how to do them correctly, and we're trying to teach, the dentists. I actually had a lecture at the medical school, which is the leading medical school of South America. It's just highly respected, and then politics got to me there, so we had to stop that. And the president of the country arranged for us to speak to a group of doctors in Quito, and had a few dentists in there, and it was about thermal imaging, and they just thought it was such a great idea. And then finally at the end, a dentist says, "Come over here, I need to talk to you." He says, "You need to drop this now, or the dentist's going to put a contract out on you and kill you." So because you're messing with their livelihood.
Right. That's a $300 billion a year business.
Oh yeah. So what's going to happen is we're going to start educating the kids and start educating the public little by little. The word will start spreading, and then they won't be able to find a dentist to put a root canal in. So that's the way. Education is the key. Not trying to stop the profession from killing people.
Well, we have 1,000 more questions for you. I want to thank you for spending some time with us before you go back to Ecuador and just talking to people about how this is all related to cancer.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm just hoping that people, I live off Social Security. I don't need the money, and I'd love to have some wealthy individual or group come along and say, "Here, take this money and get this out." But I don't know. I'm 70 years old, but I don't want to retire. I want to keep doing the research. So I'm more in a research mode now more than ever because we have doctors in Ecuador now that I can send people to and do our technology.
That's great. So if people have issues, they can come down there and spend some time with you and get all this work done?
Absolutely. We actually have people come down just for dental work because it's about a third of the price as it is here in the U.S. And we can do cavitational surgery. We've got a cavitat down there, and we've got what we do have there that you can't find in the U.S. We have what's called dental radiologist. That's a profession there.
Wow.
So we have a dental CAT scan, which is about a $350,000 machine. And I just happened to run across this guy when I first down there, and they thought he was a nutcase, saying that oral pathology was causing all these diseases. Until I came along and spoke at the medical school for the faculty and the fourth year medical students, and proved to them with thermal imaging, just in that group, proved to them this was the issue. So once I did that, then they started inviting him over to actually teach about finding this oral pathology, and he's good at it. In fact, he's bought another machine, put it in Quito. It's gotten so popular in Ecuador. No dentist in this whole country is going to go out and spend $350,000 to $400,000 for a dental CAT scanner when they have these little old dinky little machines that don't see that much. You know, the dental scans that use now is nothing like the dental CAT scan, because we're seeing some very interesting things. With this dental CAT scan, it takes a picture of the whole skull. We've actually found polyps, sinus polyps, and what really was so unique about this, we had those couple of patients come out, had no oral pathology, had perfect teeth. If you think, I never thought it was possible. What caused the cancer? Well, one had a polyp up in the, and that's what caused it. So if we hadn't had this dental, CAT scanner, we'd never seen it. And we just went in there and removed the polyp and cleaned up the body and turned the system back on and got rid of the tumor, and she's still trucking along. Wow. So there's a lot of causes, not just oral pathology. Now we're finding it, and we would have never found it here in the U.S. because the equipment is just, I don't think there's probably more than 2 or 3 of those things in the whole world, as far as I know. Probably can't sell them here that much because nobody, a dentist can't afford it.
Well, you're doing great work, because if people, don't have a lot of money, and with the economy the way it is, if the price is a third of the price of what it is here, then people can go down there, have a little vacation, and.
Oh, they come down there, and we just say, all right, you come down, you got to sign a contract, you will not stay, okay? We got too many of these ugly Americans down here now. We don't want any more of them. We got 5,000 Americans in Cuenca alone there, but they've changed. I mean, the mayor loves them. He has classes and teaches them how to do this and that, because they're bringing in millions of dollars into Ecuador. So, and so it's turned out to be a good thing too. But Americans do have a way of screwing up a country.
Yeah, that tends to happen, doesn't it? With our way we
I agree.
Things. So thanks, Dr. Dowling, for being on the show. Really, really appreciate your time today.
Well, I appreciate you having us on, and anything I can do, just let me know, email or call me. Our toll-free number's on the website, and just feel free to call me anytime if you have any questions, or anybody that wants to call, they can do that, and be glad that I'm semi-retired, so I'm not in office all the time, but we'll call you back if you leave a message.
Okay, great. And we'll put all your contact information on our show page here, extremehealthradio.com/115, so people can get all this information. And thank you so much.
Oh, it's fun.
By the way, this is a downloadable book, and we just add to it. So once you download it, then as soon as we get a addition to it, we'll just let you know, and you just have to contact the email to download, because we won't download it automatically. You have to send us an email. So as we expand on it, you just get all the updates, in the future.
Oh, I love it. And that's at ncresearch.org and breastcancercured.com. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks. I certainly appreciate this opportunity.
Okay, thanks a lot, Doctor.
Okay. Have a good day.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So what do you think of Mr. Bob Dowling?
That was a good time.
Very interesting guy, huh?
That guy knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's really interesting. And I just thought it was interesting that he is in Ecuador, and doesn't sound like he has really any desire to be here in the United States.
Yeah, there's zero love for not zero. I shouldn't say that. That's just putting words in his mouth. But no, yeah, it definitely sounds like he's way happier doing his work where he's more free to do it.
Yeah, and what a crazy story about Greg Catton, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
He's the owner of, I think, herbhealers.com. We'll put a link to that on his page. We actually used his Cansema product, actually the black salve, for some warts and things, and it works great.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll put a link to the products that he's talking about for the cancer on this show page. But yeah, Bob Dowling, he's really making a strong case that it's not the toxins in the body, but it's the toxins that are actually coming from the mouth. Huh. Because he was saying, it's amazing that he rarely sees anyone with cancer that doesn't, that
have
has
a root canal.
Yeah, that has a really clean mouth or no dental work.
Right. I wanted to ask him. I was wondering if he's seen cases where, I'm trying to think this through, where there has been a root canal with no disease. Like if someone's made it their whole life and died with one or multiple root canals and escaped the disease part.
Oh, right.
I wonder, I'm sure that's possible over the entire span of the world.
Right. Well,
with all these people, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens. And, people's constitution, if they've got a strong genetic line, it probably makes sense that they would be able to withstand the toxins that are coming. But remember that story about what was it, the tribe that he talked about? And then the dentist came through and did a root canal on a guy. And
it was the one guy in 2,500 or 25,000?
20,000 or 30,000?
It was a lot. Yeah, the one person that had a disease or cancer out of everyone was the one guy that had the root canal. Yeah,
it's interesting because you have one root canal, don't you?
Unfortunately, yes.
And I have one that we're going to get fixed. And I actually have 4, I think, cavitations from my wisdom teeth taken out.
Oh, right. It didn't sound like he said cavitations were as bad of a problem, correct?
I think that they are. From what I understand, cavitations are very dangerous.
Cavitation the same as a cavity?
No, cavitation, from what I understand, is like when they extract a tooth, like a wisdom tooth, like they did for me.
Oh, and they pack it with stuff.
They pack it with stuff, and what happens is that the blood is not able to clot correctly. And what happens is that bacteria get into that pocket, and then what happens is your gum grows over the top of that, so it's almost like a bubble, like a balloon. And underneath that bacteria, and underneath that balloon is just some of the most incredible toxins. They've actually done studies where, what was it? Our dentist, what's his name? Dr. Nunley.
Oh yeah.
Just wrote a paper about all the toxins that they've found in those cavitations, and it'll make your blood curl.
Oh, curdle.
Yeah.
I don't know how your blood could curl, but I liked it.
But isn't that it's like
that's amazing.
Some of the most deadly poisons that
get released into your system.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I didn't know cavitation was different than a cavity, so that's good to know.
Yeah, the cavity. And you haven't had your wisdom teeth taken out, have you?
Mm-mm.
Thank God.
I know.
Yeah.
I still film right now.
Yeah, I wish I never did that. I did that, I think, in 2000. I didn't know any better, you know?
It's so common for, almost everybody I talk to has had them out. It's just like the most. Today, actually, earlier when I was at the salon, a couple of the teenagers that have come in this week and earlier today, a bunch of them already had their appointments to get their wisdom teeth out this summer.
Really?
And there's tons of them. Just that's the thing they do at a certain age. Seems like when you are in summer break, and it's a bummer.
Gosh, that's so amazing. Because you know how we're talking about recently that everything is backwards.
Yeah.
Everything's flipped upside down. Everything's other than what it should be. And they just tell you that you need these things done and you just go do it. And no one questions is why do we have these teeth but no room to have them?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and no one questions these things,
That's so true.
So there's a lot of questions. If you've been told by your dentist that you need to have your wisdom teeth taken out,
go get a second opinion.
Yeah, start asking questions. Please see a biological dentist. You can find them online.
Yeah, do you have a resource for that?
We interviewed Ramil Nagel, so you can put him into our search engine or go to our guest list page. I know he's got a list on his website. I think it's curetoothDecay.com.
Okay.
And we're going to interview Dr. Nunley too. We're going to get him on.
Cool.
And we interviewed a couple other people about teeth as well. Dr. Dawn Ewing. She might have a list on her website, drewing.net, I think.
Okay.
But this tooth thing is such a huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are coming out with braces with these toxic metals on their braces, and no one questions why do these kids have teeth that are coming in poorly. Why do they have a mouth that's crowded? All this stuff is a huge deal.
Yeah, little did I know until 5-6 years ago when you even first mentioned it that I just thought it was a wild concept that every organ is kind of connected to a particular tooth. Don't we have a book on that, actually?
We don't, but we have the book Colon Health by Norman Walker that talks about how your colon also, different sections of your colon correspond to different parts of your body, like your organs and things.
Man, your body's just so connected to itself at all different places.
Did you ever end up hearing the interview we did with Dr. Marshall? Dr. Bob Marshall?
I think I did.
Oh, man, we didn't get a great connection with him, but his information was fascinating.
Yeah, you know what? I actually think, unfortunately, I've only heard like half of it.
Yeah, he was talking about how our bodies... Have you heard the whole theory about how... I think the guy from the Healing Codes, or was it the Emotion Code, talks about your heart emits a frequency that's, I think, 12 feet in diameter.
Yeah, I don't remember which person that was. Might have been Bradley.
One of those two guys. But Dr. Bob Marshall was talking about the energetic aura or energy field that you can measure through Kirlian photography actually is what is your immune system, and your body energetically corresponds with like this field around you. And getting the connection from your body to that field is where real health is.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Huh. I have to I need to watch or listen to the end of that.
Yeah, his stuff is so good.
Wow, that's weird.
So thank you everyone for joining us on this episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to Dr. Bob Dowling, and make sure to visit his website if you can. He's a prolific guy, and maybe you can go down to Ecuador and get your teeth done.
Yep.
And tell him we sent you. And
hopefully we're going to go down there one of these days too.
That'd be fun.
You never know.
You never know. Never know your luck in a big city.
As your mother would say, you never know your luck in a big city.
That's right.
Along with some other Aussie slang
sayings that make no sense.
Sayings that make no sense.
So thanks again for everyone for visiting this show page and listening to this podcast. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. And let's see. If you could do us a favor, it would be really, really great if you could help us out. And if you can go to extremehealthradio.com/love, LOVE. And even though you may be driving right now or walking through the mall or doing whatever you're doing, if you could remember to do that when you go home, that would be really helpful.
Yes,
and
please.
Go onto that page and you can click a button there, and that will help promote our show and our podcast to your friends and things. So that would be a great way to support us, and a great thing to do for us.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to Extreme Health